Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Journey to Happiness. So, I'm so glad you're here with me on this journey today. And I'm so glad that you're tuning in because this is a little bit of a different podcast today. I want to be extremely vulnerable and just kind of share what has been happening. And I want to share this because I think there's a lot of energies in the sky that are happening, a lot of very heavy energies. I know a lot of people who are going through a lot of things right now, and so I actually debated on whether to even put this podcast out, kind of thinking, should I not? Like all of the stuff that gets stuck in our heads and the ego brain talking and all of those things. And then I thought, what if other people are going through something right now too, and they need to know that they're not alone? And the whole point of this podcast, when I started this journey several months ago, was to take you on a journey with me and to like let you into my life and let you know that you're not alone and just share different things with you, things that I've learned and also things that I'm going through. So that is the point of this. I went to the lake today, so don't mind the hair. It's beach hair right now, I guess. Not really a beach because it's on an ocean, but it's a beach to me. It's a lake. So I did that because I just had to get some peace and quiet, but it was super busy. There was lots of kids there, so it wasn't really quiet, but it still made me feel really good to get vitamin D and just be in the water. So a couple weeks ago, my mom almost died, ended up in the hospital. Long story short, she hit her leg, was basically bleeding out. She called me, was afraid to call the ambulance because of her dog. She was afraid how her dog would react, people coming in. We got to her right when she was passing out. They had to give her trauma blood, infuse her very quickly. She is okay. Everything turned out fine. This happened right on the same day that my son was coming back home. And he was going through a lot. Then my mom, all of those things happened to her. So all of that got settled. And I felt like, okay, like this is all good. Everything happens for a reason. There's a reason this is happening, and I was going to get through it. And then fast forward about a week later, I found out that they were not going to renew my contract at work, and I'm going to be out of a job after this week. So I've been, you know, I don't have a savings. If you've listened to some of my podcasts, you know that money has always been kind of a sore thing for me. Like it's always been a struggle. No matter how much I make, I've always had these money struggles, and I'm still trying to work on figuring out where that comes from and why, I can't seem to keep money. So I have no savings. I live a lot paycheck to paycheck. So that's what happened. And I have 1 week left and I'm out of a job. And, something my son said to me did hit kind of close to home. He says, you know, Mom, you're upset about leaving a job that you completely hate. I was like, well, he does have a point, but it's hard to see the bigger picture like that. It's hard to see that when you're stuck on survival mode. I think when it comes to money, it's one of those things that it's like our livelihood, you know? I mean, a relationship can end and yeah, it sucks and it might feel like everything is falling apart, but like you're gonna get through that, you know? Things like that in our life can happen, friendships can end and you're still gonna get through it. But when it comes to money, I think that's just something that's really hard to grasp your head around when you don't know what else you're going to do. When I've been a nurse for 15 years, and even though I'm feeling called to do other things, I don't have anything ready yet. Like, I don't have another way of making any money. So I'm looking for other jobs, which has been a little bit of a struggle to find right now. And it is now a process. It's a process. It's not like it used to be. It used to be just go fill out an application and you get an interview and you get the job. Now it's like it's literally can take weeks to get a job. Um, but I also know I'm really struggling to have faith, but I am having faith that God is always going to take care of me and the universe always has my back. I preach it all the time. And I know that when things are breaking down around you, it's because your life is up leveling. When things are breaking down around you, it's because you have to have the old fall away to make room for better things. And so, if anybody out there is struggling with anything like this, it doesn't have to be necessarily a similar story, but I just want to remind you guys of that too, that even though it feels like, you know, what are we going to do? We have bills to pay, we have food to put on the table. I have all these people that are now here with me that are depending upon me to help them. And I feel very lost and I feel very confused because I don't know how I'm going to help them. At first I thought, well, maybe this is the answer to my prayers, because at first I thought, well, I can just draw some unemployment and that's still going to be enough to pay my bills. And I can actually work on my business and actually put something out in the world that I find valuable and that, that I want to do. But then I found out that there's a limit on how much unemployment you can get. I thought it was just half of what your income is, which is true, but up to a certain limit, which is not very much. It would pay my rent and maybe my electric, and that's about it. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been going through. And I think this is probably a little bit of the dark night of the soul, because we go through many dark nights of the soul through the spiritual journey and the spiritual path. And so I have talked about that in a previous episode if you want to know more about it, but I will talk about it a little bit here. The dark night of the soul, it's an ego death, which my ego has kind of already died a while back, but it's a shedding of the old so that you can embrace the new. That's a lot of what it is. And a lot of times, when you go through the dark night of the soul, this is what happens. You will have things in your life that will completely fall away that are no longer meant for you. This did not happen to me the first time around. The first time around, it was just a major, major ego death. It was more like I just realized that the person I was putting on for all those years wasn't the real me, and I had to come to terms with the fact that I was embracing who the true soul essence of me was. But this time around, I think this is because I've heard people talk about the dark night of the soul before, and a lot of times it can be things falling out of your life, like jobs and relationships and friends. And that was another thing. I had a falling out with a friend, and I honestly don't really think me and her are aligned anymore. And I felt that for a while. I love the girl to fucking pieces. Like, I love her so much. I've been friends with her since high school. She has been a ride or die, but there's also been a lot of things that I have felt, the last several times that we would get together, I felt like we just really didn't have anything in common anymore. We were down two separate paths. I felt like she had certain priorities in her life that were completely different from mine. And so we ended up having kind of a falling out. And whether that friendship will ever be repaired or not, I don't know. There's no hard feelings. I love her to death. I always will. And I will always wish the best for her. And maybe we'll come back together again when, we're a lot more aligned. I mean, it's happened to me before. Like, I have had friends fall out of my life. And then later on, after we did some healing on our own, we came back together and things were fine. So the point of this is, sorry to ramble on, but the point of this is, if you're going through this right now, if you're going through anything similar, whether it's a job loss, whether it's a relationship loss, whether somebody has died, whether it is friendships, whether it is just anything that you're going through that feels really heavy and uncertain, just know that this too shall pass. And I think if we can rely on our faith and we can rely on the fact that God is always going to be there for us and the universe always has our back, I think that things are going to get better. We do have Jupiter in Cancer right now, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So, if you're not sure what that means for you, you can look up your birth chart and see what house Cancer is in for you. For me, it's my first house. And it happened, Jupiter went into Cancer this month. And I thought, oh, okay, everything's going to be great. We're going to be good. But we still have Saturn sitting in a superior position, which means that Saturn is the daddy of all astrology, and he's there to teach us lessons and to help us grow, honestly. But it can feel really tough. And so up through September, things might still be a little rocky. Things still might be touch and go. However, after September, Saturn will leave, and it should be pretty awesome because Jupiter is in Cancer, and it's a protection. Especially if you're like a Cancer rising or a Cancer sun or a Cancer moon, like, we have protection around us. So, not to jump around to astrology, I don't want to go too far into that because I don't want to lose you guys here and be like, what the hell is she talking about? But all this to say that nothing lasts forever. There's always going to come seasons of growth and seasons of trials and seasons of obstacles. And good God, I'm going through a lot through it all right now. Like I have cried and cried and cried, and I've literally felt such a depression that I've never felt before. I have felt like I didn't even want to live a couple times. I would never do that because it would cause too much turmoil in my family. But there's been bouts where I'm just like, why couldn't God just take me? Like, why do I have to live right now? Because everything is so uncertain and I don't know where my next paycheck's coming from. I don't know how I'm going to pay bills. I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table. I don't know any of these answers. But I just have to keep having faith that it is all going to work out and that God is going to bring the money into my life and give me the way to support everybody. So some things that I've had to rely on is I've had to rely on prayer. So if you're a person of faith, which if you found this podcast, you probably are because I talk about it a lot, and I don't think you would be drawn to this if you weren't a person of faith. Rely on the prayers, like just pray and talk to God. It has actually helped me a lot. And I've noticed that every time I do that, if I'm in a really bad state, I will feel like a peace wash over me. Um, I meditated a lot this morning. I need to get back into doing that more. It's been really hard lately, because it's been hard to shut my brain off. And then today, like I went out and got vitamin D on my skin, went out and just floated in the water. It was really busy. There was lots of kids running around and people, but it didn't matter. I just went out. I went by myself out to the lake and I just floated around because water always brings me peace. And the sunlight always makes me feel better. Thought about going to the gym. I don't know if I'm going to get to that one, but that's another good one. If you're going through things, a lot of times just moving your body and being out in nature, that can really help. If you're a big journaler, I suggest if you're going through a lot of things right now that you journal the feelings out. You do have to get them out somehow. I am not huge on journaling. It's just not ever been my forte, but I know it's very helpful for a lot of people. So I suggest that you do that if you're going through this stuff. Um, Maybe find somebody to talk to. I'm actually really lucky, and it kind of makes sense now why my family's all around me right now, because if I didn't have them here with me, then I would be a lot worse off. I've had them here. I've had my mom to lean on. I've had my boys are all adults now, and they are so fucking smart. Like just like I told you, my one son said about you're upset about leaving a job that you hate. Like, do you know how many opportunities are out there? Do you know how many ways to make money are out there? And he's right. He's right. I think when you're stuck in survival mode, you can't see them. Like I can't see them right now because I just don't like I'm so stuck in this like fight or flight survival whatever. But he is right. So I suggest that you find a community or you find friends or family or somebody to lean on and talk to, whatever it is you're going through. I hope this podcast finds you if it's meant to, because I hope this can help you to let you know that you're not alone. There are a lot of heavy energies going on right now. There's a lot of breakdowns happening. I know other people going through some things too. So it's not just me, it's not just you. There's others going through a lot of things right now, and the world is scary, and especially if you're watching the news. I don't watch the news much, but I have caught glimpses here and there on like the internet and stuff about what's going on. Like it's a scary time. But there is a higher power that is there for us, and we have a spirit team. There are like spirit guides all around us. They're there to help us. A lot of times that's passed on loved ones, ancestors that we might not even know. And that's what I'm having to try to do right now, is to rely on those people or those souls, spirits. I guess we're not people, but souls and spirits and God, because I don't think I can make it through without that. So, um, thank you guys for being here and listening to my little sob story of what I'm going through. I hope it helps somebody out there. I hope it helps to know that you're not alone. And even when we've done a lot of healing and even when we've been on a spiritual path for the last several years, that doesn't mean that it's all rainbows and butterflies. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have struggles. And obviously, I kick myself in the ass for not being smarter with my money, for not Because I was always worried. Every 13 weeks when my contract would come up, I would get worried that they weren't going to renew it. But I always felt safe. I felt, and I didn't like this job. I love what I do, but I didn't like where I was working. I don't like it at all. But I was so comfortable staying there, and I knew it was a paycheck. So that's where I was. So. Wish me luck on the job hunt, y'all. And again, I hope this helps somebody out there that maybe also is going through something like this, or, even if it's not through something like this, maybe it's a divorce or a breakup or a family matter or, you know, something ending in your life. I think there's a lot of endings happening right now. And I think there's a lot of endings happening because we are up leveling as a society and as a planet Earth here. We are up leveling and the vibrations are shifting and we're all rising. The vibrations are rising. And in order for all of that to take place, then things have to fall away and endings have to happen. And they're always sad and they're always scary. And even though I don't like the job, I love the people I worked with. So it's sad. Endings are always sad. And beginnings are always scary, right? New chapters are scary and it's uncertain and we don't know what we're gonna do. Uh, but we're all in it together, right? And we can all be here for each other. And yeah, reach out to me if you want to connect, if you're going through something, or if you just want to say hi. Because I'm here through this journey with you. And I love you guys so much. So thank you for listening. Until next time, I will see you soon. Bye bye. Mwah.